So I was at the grocery store and I found these like malt soda Malta drinks, and I thought, you know, these taste really good. What if I brewed it into an alcohol? So this is my recipe on how I brewed these into trying to make like a malt liquor. Ended up more so making a malt beer, but here we go. So I got 2 cases of this Malta Goya right here. And what I did is I popped all these open and put them into a brewing vessel basically. So they come in these little bottles. They're about 7 fluid ounces each. And I basically put 12 of them into a brewing vessel. So they have some interesting ingredients, just water, high fructose corn syrup, malt, caramel coloring and whatnot. I don't really like brewing with corn syrup. I've never done that before, but it worked out, so here we go. So I got about a 2-gallon glass jar that I put all these in. And you have to be careful because it foams up quite a bit, and you also want an airlock on top of that too. So besides the malt drink and brewing vessel, I also use Star Sand to clean everything with. I also got myself some extra white sugar, and then also I used some Belgian Abbey yeast to brew it with. So the first thing I do is I just add a squeeze of Star Sand to the sink and then basically clean the brewing vessel and the airlock. This is just to prevent any bacteria from getting into the brewing vessel and ruining the brew. So once everything was clean and sanitized, I added all the malt drinks to the brewing vessel, and this thing foamed up quite a bit, so you gotta be careful if you're gonna try this. So while I was waiting for all that foam to go down, I hydrated the yeast. You don't have to do this, but basically I just added some of the malt drink to the yeast and let it sit in a cup and just foam up. So once the foam goes down, I'll just keep adding more of the malt drink to it. So once I finally got all the Malta into the brewing vessel, I added a cup of sugar and just gave it a good shake. I also wanted to shake it up just to get a lot of the CO2 out of it, because I heard having a lot of CO2 in your brews isn't necessarily a good thing. So I let the brewing vessel sit there for a bit and let all the CO2 bubble off, and then next I added the yeast. After adding it, I just kind of give it a good stir just to let the sugar and yeast kind of mix in. So after everything is added, I let it sit for about a week. You can let it sit for 2 weeks or however long you want it. The longer you let it sit, the less sweet it will be pretty much. So this was just kind of guessing. I just let it sit for a week though for this recipe. And it bubbled like crazy the first couple days because there's just so much sugar in there, like corn syrup, sugar, malt. So it was pretty interesting to watch that. So now that it's been sitting for about a week, it's about done. So I'm actually going to just pour it into a plastic container because I have friends coming over later, but normally what you want to do is siphon it off. And I'm using plastic because I was worried maybe there would be like extra buildup of CO2 in this brew, and it could, like, if you have glass, it could blow up. So I always just use plastic because I've actually had that happen before. And I was going to drink that later this day, so with friends and whatnot. So, but if you're going to want to keep it longer, I would highly recommend getting a brew siphon. You can just easily order them. And that's it. So the brew itself was actually pretty dark and bubbly. It retained a lot of the flavor of the malt drinks and was actually pretty sweet, but you could definitely taste the alcohol in there. So I imagine if you let it sit for more than 3 weeks, it probably would be pretty strong. So if you got some extra malt drinks just sitting around, you could definitely try this recipe out. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see y'all next time.